All right, everybody. I'm sorry for the. I ran to get some coffee and some food for Havoc and I, and they were way busier than I anticipated them being, so I do apologize for the delay. That is totally on me. I hope you guys had a wonderful Wednesday yesterday. Today we're going to be working on the webtoons some more, so let me go ahead and let's pop on back over there. And I'll get my VTuber head up here so you guys can see me. And let me grab my glove for my tablet and we can get going. Alright. We did August exploding some zombies, and then he's turning basically to go off and find Val to make sure that Val is okay. So we need to now cut back to Val. And as soon as I find my thing here. Go ahead and make another panel here. Oh my goodness, my computer's freaking out. I don't know why. For some reason, working on the webtoon, my computer just like has a fit. And that is the wrong color, so we're gonna fix that real fast. Just click on that. Or not. Okay. Let me actually select it then. Is that it? No, that's not it. Like this one here where it's almost pure black, but it's not quite pure black. Alright, so let's see here. So we're doing the build up to Val having an encounter with his father. Let's see, so he was peeking around here, so let's actually have this shot be where there is something that's moving around in the background, like that Val notices, and he's gonna get like all extra hopeful that maybe his dad is at the shop and his dad will protect him. So let me get my models here. Let's see, I should already have a big beefy body because their dad is big. He's a super big dude. Let me see if I got one. I think I do here. There we go. That's a pretty big beefy one. Maybe make the head a little bit bigger because that's comically small. I know it is a comic, but damn, dude looks like he needs to have a proportional head, at least somewhat here. Close enough, right? All right, so let's find a pose that works for what we're doing here. He's gonna be kind of like clamoring around like in his office, so hey, how's it going, Nuffa? Sorry for the wait there. Let's see. Let me find a pose that'll work. Oh yeah. No, I mean I already have them like drawn out here, so it'll be pretty easy. This is the saddest part of the intro chapter here, so ooh, that's good. Yours doesn't have like an autosave where it pops up like pretty much where you were? Cuz that's what mine does. Mine does like a thing where it has like almost like a backup kind of thing. At least I have it set that way. And I just saw one that I think would work. There we go. Got this. And then we'll have him turned around here so he's kind of like the butt cheeks. uh, that's funny. Alright, so let's see. Let's put like he's figure out how to make it look like he's in like a window, because there'll be like a window area for like the office. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a great booty, that's for sure, but it's a silly booty. Let's see, maybe I can find. I might have a room I can stick him in. That might make it easier for me to kind of maneuver like where he is. Gill creases. Yeah. Well, if I have at least like a basic like room in 3D here, that'll make it a bit easier. The problem is like, yeah, there's a search option, but a lot of the times the stuff is labeled in like Korean, so that does not help me whatsoever. I really need to work on like drawing like interiors and exteriors of buildings and whatnot. Like that is definitely my weakness. So let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, I should do that. I really need to take like some time and organize my whole clip, because I just download so many of the assets that it's just like this endless amount of assets here. No, laptop. Laptop is the worst. I don't know how my monitor got moved, but I can. Maybe I'll move chat over a little bit. There we go. Now I can see a little bit better. No, don't adjust the brightness. I don't want that. Just because I touched you does not mean you need to like freak out. I mean, I might be smegsy and all, but damn. At least according to habit. Oh my goodness. There's so much crap in here. I really need to organize this. This is slowing me down so much. Hey, Luke, how's it going? It has been a minute. How are you doing? You're probably like, oh, this is familiar. Aniki's scrolling through his endless amount of assets that he's downloaded. Oh my god, I know I had something I could use. Yeah, I know a lot of people are doing art fight. Um, does that give you like a lot of like attention? Like, say if you're like, if you do well in like the art fight thing, does that like help with like getting commissions or anything? Because it seems like people are allergic to commissioning me, and I've been trying. I'm like actually like messaging people that like have like where they're looking for something like specific, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to do that. I give them examples, and then they string me along for like a couple messages, and then they're just like, nah. I'm like, okay, like what the hell? All right, I'm gonna try searching real quick and see if this helps. We can use this. It says sci-fi bedroom, but we can use it for what we're trying to do. So yeah, it's so weird. Like I never know exactly like what the deal is. Like why it's so difficult just to get people to commission me. And I'm like, I'm even charging like super 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 discounted rates right now. Like crazy discounted. And people are still like, no. Where's the front of this thing? Yeah, I mean, I know like everything is also like way too expensive these days, so that probably has something to do with it. I mean, I know personally like I want to be able to commission people myself, but I am lay broke, so I can't. All right, we're gonna kind of approach this as if like this little thing, this doorway is actually a window. So I'm gonna like reimagine like kind of what's going on in here.
I waited 2 hours at Social Security for them to tell me I already have one. They're like, we already mailed it. I was like, I don't have it.
And let's zoom in. We gotta have the. Oh, that's true. Yeah, pressing too low also makes people wonder, like, why is this so cheap? It's a good point. We'll have like he's kind of like maybe he's like tossing like documents or papers off of like a desk. So I think this is gonna be good here for the shot that I need. So I'm gonna. Oops, not in there. No, no, no. Get on the other screen. I was working on some unsafe work yesterday, so let's go ahead and pop that off of the screen. I need some references for some back muscles because he's got kind of like the power builder, power lifter body, but I need at least some of like the muscle groups to help me out a little bit. Just a little bit, not completely. I don't draw backs very often either, so. Oh yeah, yeah, his waist is gonna be thick as fuck. He's gonna have that teacher's husband from Full Metal Alchemist kind of build. All right, so let's do the sketch first. So I'm gonna get a bit of a softer brush for the sketching. And let's flip this way so it's a bit easier to tell. And usually when they have like this kind of build, they're not necessarily like quite as ripped. It's more like, you know, shapes and whatnot. So like especially with like the in the arms here, they don't have to be quite as defined. I'll just make them like super big here. And from this angle, it looks like I'd be able to see a little bit of the biceps, so that. He's definitely going to have this big old punchy muscle here. That's my technical term for it, because when I was doing a lot of MMA and boxing, I had a big punchy muscle, and I liked it from throwing lots of jabs, as you should. If you are practicing any sort of boxing, if you're not throwing jabs, then you're doing it wrong. Not every punch has to be a knockout punch. Small damage adds up. Accumulative. Alright, we're going to have some of this here, and then it's going to get kind of flubby here around the waist. So we're going to kind of do this number here. He's going to have like a really big chest. And not all of this is going to be seen through the shirt. I just kind of need to draw it just to know where it is. You know, how some of this is going to, you know, kind of like show up a little bit through the shirt. So it's the only reason I'm drawing this. And to be honest with you, my anatomy skills are not where they need to be, so I'm just kind of guessing how these muscles look when they're like stretched. And Mr. Bennett's got kind of like a mohawk thing going on here because he's super cool. He's that cool dad. So we're gonna do his hair here. Oh yeah, gotta love cool dads. Not so ex-delinquent dad. Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, as we can tell by August's face here, he's definitely a delinquent. So, all right, let's have like his shirt here, and then we're gonna have it like stretched over his back since he's nice and big. He's gonna have a little bit of shirt over his currently Hank Hill ass. I will fix that so he's not so. I'll give him cake. Don't worry, he'll have it. His shirt's like struggling to keep his arm muscles like in the shirt here. Bennett Family Bakery, yeah. Yeah, exactly. They all got plenty of cake. And a lot of this is going to be in shadow too, because we're what we're doing is we're trying to make it so it's a little bit harder for Val or anybody to kind of tell exactly like what's going on. Let's give him some more some more buns here. I am not a pro at drawing butts, by the way, so butts are kind of a new adventure for me, I should say. He's also wearing some jeans, so down here it'll start getting like squiggly. Let's give him some more. Round that off quite a bit more there. Right here. Hey, I'll get better at butts as we go, so that'll be a focus. Will be some butts. Yeah, they're kind of like weird because so they're rounded, but at the same time they're also like if it's like a dude butt, like they're more squared off, like they're kind of like rectangles. There's I don't know if you guys ever watched the Brack show on Adult Swim, but Brack's dad's like this little like super suave Hispanic guy, like he's like extra tiny for like no good reason. Like he's like I don't know, like somebody hit him with a shrink ray small. But he's like, I love how these pants make each behind muscle look like a small television. It makes me laugh so hard every time. I'm like, dude is a G. He doesn't need to be big to be a total suavemente like you know. I mean, he's already a monster fucker, obviously. So I'm gonna give him like a little thing around his wrist here. He needs to have some sort of like accessories, I think, to kind of. Again, this isn't gonna be terribly detailed in this shot. This is more of like a silhouette kind of thing. But I'll give him at least like some accessories here so we can start to see that. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's gonna have it on one of his hands here. So, we can kind of see this hand a little bit better. So we'll put it on this hand over here. And I'll try to remember that that is his right hand. I gotta check something soon. This is gonna be spoilers because I already completed this panel before, but he is definitely infected. So he's got a lot of crystals. I figured they would have more crystals the stronger affinity they have with magic. So we're gonna kind of sketch out like where these crystals are going like across his body, across his head. And it's going to be like they're going to look more like wild and raw too with like the different strains of the infection and whatnot and the different levels of control of the different like types of infection, I should say. Like they'll be like more advanced ones later that have a bit more sense of self and personalities and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna have it just kind of coming across and down his back here. Just kind of trying to map out a little bit where they might stick out and where they might be. So and he's got a good amount of magic power, so he's gonna have a lot of crystals. And I might even put some on like the back of his arms a little bit here. I'll have to try to remember that when we get into like the action scenes and stuff and that are about to come up. Yeah, these are not like your standard zombies, so Havoc made them extremely cool. Alright, that's pretty good. And I'm just gonna kind of roughly sketch out like this might be like a desk. And we need to do this like it's a window here. So that's how I had it in the original shot, that we're looking through the window to the office. This is like going to be like foreground. Basically, we can use this as a guide here. And we don't need to worry too much about the details of the other stuff in the background here, because this is going to be mostly in shadow. And let's put like some maybe they have like some like magic paperwork and he's just like freaking out, like trying to, you know, maybe he's freaking out because he's fighting it a little bit, but it's just not happening. And maybe he's like, we'll have some like maybe some like magic objects or something that he's like kind of flinging off here too. All right, we got a good sketch going here. The butt. Oh my god. Let me see if I can fix this butt a little bit here. He also needs to have beefier legs. Booty. Booty, booty, booty. Makes him look kind of fat. Hold on, let me... He's not fat. Yeah, they need thighs to hold it up. He doesn't have little chicken legs. He does not skip leg days, so... Alrighty. Now we can start working on the line work. So I'm going to kind of start like with a shirt here, since we have the sketch basis, so I know where that there should be some like strain from where the shirt is like really trying to contain these big beefy muscles he's got here. because he's just so strong. And we're gonna have some folds along kind of where like muscles are showing through just a bit through the shirt. Make sure some of these lines aren't the scratchy lines. We don't want that. We want line confidence. My advice for that is to draw through other lines and then go back and erase and do some. Then you can kind of zoom in a bit and like clean it up and do some of the details and whatnot that you need to do. And you try not to use your wrist as much as possible. Use your like whole arm or your like elbow to kind of like crank it around. If that makes sense. Trying to take a look at my reference here a little bit in between. Like I said, this is going to mostly be in shadow, so we're not going to see a lot of it anyway. I'm not quite sure exactly how the folds of the shirt would be around the butt here, but we're just gonna kind of wing it. As long as you're showing like the general form of things, like it's readable enough for people to understand, then it's fine. It's actually something I've noticed as I've got older. Like I've gone back and looked at like a lot of like comic book art that I used to like when I was younger, and I noticed a lot of things are actually done like fairly like abstract, but you can still like tell like, oh, this is like a shirt, this is where the muscles are, like that kind of thing. So it wasn't like they went through and they put like every single detail. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to make like their deadlines, and you know they would have their editors like up their ass, like, hey, where the hell are these chapters at? So as long as it's like readable and like understandable as to what it is, you don't need to go like super crazy with detail. As long as the viewer knows what it is. That's all that really matters. And I'm trying to place like these folds like at the points of like tension. All right, let's get like his head shape here, and then we can. At some point, I'm gonna need to turn the sketch off so I can start like cleaning up like some of the lines and making sure that they make sense. Wait, this is his neck comes up even more, so we'll have it like kind of like this is like his spine here. There's like the traps. Start doing some of his hair. This is what I'm talking about with like drawing through lines you've already made, because you can go back through and just like erase it. Because if you try to like draw up to the line and then go back and do it, it's gonna look bad. Like, I mean, sometimes you might get lucky, but overall, it's just gonna look rough if you're just trying to like eyeball the placement. Like, especially with like a curved line or a straight line, doing the stop and start thing makes it so like if something like is behind another part of it and you try to do the stop and start, it's just not going to look natural like at all. So it's better to draw through it. I need to see exactly where his ear is real quick. It's right there. So we have like his hairline kind of around there. So kind of give me a chance to see where to draw the stuff for like the mohawk too. Made his head a little bit too big. So it goes kind of more from here like that. And we want to flip it the other way too, every now and then, just to make sure that things are. And then sometimes also by like flipping it the other direction, you can get like better, like, especially if you're trying to draw like curves from the other side, it makes it a little easier to flip it. And then I can erase away in between here. I'm trying to get faster like with my line work, because I want the comic to actually start having chapters like legitimately published. Alright, some of this will start kind of curving back the other way. It will have some of this in front since it's closer to the eye. So we'll go back like this. This is something I really, really struggled with before, was drawing like characters from behind. So having like the 3D is like such a great help with that. All right, we want to make sure that we have not only that, but the kind of the little strands that will be going like behind it too. And he's leaning forward as well, so we gotta take kind of like gravity into account. Oh yeah, yeah. Trust me, if I was, if I had a job to go to, uh, which I currently don't, I would not. I would also not be doing that. Hi, Beans. You're such a cute kitty. Let's see. So some of this will be covered up a little bit here. We'll have some of these strands going this way. I definitely put too much detail into stuff, but you know what? I like it, so that's all that matters. Alright, let me turn that off so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to turn these sketch lines down quite a bit. I can kind of see where things are a little sloppy here, so let's fix that. Oop, help if I was on the right layer. So let's bring that up more that way. Kind of race the way through. And I'm definitely going to be like, once I get like the actual like line work done, I got to go through and thicken up some parts of the line for some line weight, so it's not all the same weight. Otherwise, things will look janky. I think we're going to put some heavy inking on this because it's going to be mostly in shadow anyway. Kind of have around in here where like the pockets would be. And then have some of his booty pockets here. And we can have his start to do his butt cheek creases. I know when you're wearing jeans, a little bit of it's kind of like stretched across here, like underneath. And then you got like this thing, like a center seam kind of thing, comes up like this. And it comes up the back of the butt area, something like that. And his butt's not looking great, but you know what? It's okay. His wife didn't marry him for his ass, so. Or did she? I don't know. You'll have to ask Havoc on that one. Let's see. Let's get his other pocket detail a little bit towards the bottom here. Like that. Let's get some of these through lines erased. And I'm not good at like doing like the action lines where you kind of like have like the little like like when like an arm or a hand is like moving. Otherwise I would use that technique. I really want to get better at that, but I haven't mastered that yet. So we're not gonna go too far out of our comfort zone until we learn those skills. Because otherwise I would do like like this thing and then like erase away like some parts of it. I just don't know how to do it yet, so I'm not gonna do it. I tried that with like the original panels and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't like the way it looked in the end. So I kind of feel like this should come up more. Let's make them a little wider, some of these areas. Liquify tool is your friend. There we go. He's beefier. I like that now. Put that. He has some sort of like cuff going on here. I would detail this stuff out if we were going to show him more. Like if we go back and we do chapters where there's like flashbacks of them hanging out with their dad and stuff, I'll do more detail on him, so you can kind of see more of his like personality and whatnot in his design. But for now, for the sake of what we're doing, we don't need to do that. Only thing we need to know about him right now is that he is infected and he is a massive threat to Val and August's safety. In the original panels, I have like the scuffle being a little bit more brief, but I think I'm going to extend it in this version. Try to give it some more, bit of a more emotional impact, and also show that August has some trouble taking him down. He should not be easy to take down, even as like a zombie not in control of his faculties. Alright, let me just get his other hand here. Kind of want to have his fingertips a little bit, kind of like they're pressed. And we got some hairy lines here, so I want to fix that. Nobody likes hairy lines. Alright, so we got those lines. And what I think I'm going to do... So I'm going to take this... And we're gonna we're gonna use like the window frame as like since it's like close up, as just being dark in the foreground here. I think I'm gonna put it a little bit more angled here so we can see a little bit more what's going on. Not have it blocked out so much. So we're gonna do that. Plus, like, the sun settings and the lights are not on in the shop. I can take my straight line tool and kind of like do like some suggestions of like where there might be some detailing. So I'm gonna do it like that, just a little bit, just to show that it's not just completely solid. And then we need some lines behind him to show. Maybe make these a little thicker, make them like 10, just to kind of get that. Why? Dude, there we go. Jesus. Kind of show like maybe like the corners of the room a little bit, the perspective. It's gonna be more like that ish. And then make sure I'm looking at this right. So flooring's kind of down here. I'm gonna have this as this is like a separate thing. We go up here. Oh yeah, I haven't saved. Good call. I would have been real sad if I lost all that. Let me get some water. And again, this doesn't have to be super detailed either, because we're not showing the whole office. We're just kind of suggesting that there's like areas, like different sections to it. So maybe he has like a little wall that sticks out here a little bit more. I'm going to be adjusting the line width on this as well. Let's do some other stuff here. Maybe there's like a shelf system over here too, and kind of do like that. Have it go back in. Just kind of show that there's stuff in here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy. This is a bit of an overhang, so we're gonna kind of do like this. Make it a little thicker as it goes out. Put it down. Again, I'm not like super pro or great when it comes to perspective, so I'm kind of Kind of just winging it, really. Maybe this is like where his desk kind of is. Maybe it sticks out a little bit from that, and then I can kind of do that. Whoa, where'd it go? There we go. I was gonna say, I was about to be like, no, why? All right, we don't need too much here, so I'm just gonna put some suggestive lines of like detail, just a little bit, just to kind of, maybe there's like a screen or something here that he uses to like look at like orders and that kind of thing. Keep track of his shop. It's like built into the wall, maybe. That's probably all we need. Now I'm gonna take my actual brush here and kind of clean things up and make it look a little more hand drawn. Because if it's too straight and it's too perfect, it'll look like crap. So we don't want that. And I can go ahead and turn this off. So we can just see that we just have some suggestion here. Detail. I mean, most webtoon like panel backgrounds are just completely blank. And I don't really like that because it doesn't really show it. I think it has a hard time showing exactly where the characters are positioned, especially when you start to go to do like scenes where they're moving around. If you don't show enough information in the background, then it's kind of like, well, how did he get from here to here? And I don't know if that's just like my ADHD brain being like, well, this has to make like some sort of sense. It's just my personal preference. And like I said earlier, like when I set up my panels, I like to think of them as like how I would direct a movie, like how the characters would move through the shots and where they'd be positioned and what makes it, interesting and still be able to show like a story. It's like otherwise everything's just like really stiff and static, and I don't like that. So we're gonna make these lines even perfect because they don't need to be perfect. See, one of these days I'll have a touchscreen tablet here so I can just rotate it with my hand. I have to do like the clicking. That's okay because we're just suggesting these lines. It's alright if they break a little bit. Also, with the rule of thirds, they don't need to all be connected. Plus his body's going to be blocking a lot of these lines. His big old body. His man body. I think I'm going to manually draw this in here. I also like to do like a lot of blurring, like when it comes to the backgrounds, because it kind of helps with like focal points and whatnot, as far as like kind of like implying perspective. You know, things that are closer away from the screen, you want them to be either, I mean, farther away from the screen, you want them to like be like lighter and like, you know, not as in focus as something that's closer to the screen. So maybe I'll have that as be like a double line here, like it's a little bit of a, I think that looks fine. And I'm just gonna cut some of this out here, because we're gonna use like a lot of this is gonna be in shadow, and it's gonna be using like color and value and whatnot to imply. So I think my brush is starting to get janky. That's probably good enough for the background lines. So I like to duplicate them, hit multiply, and I apply a Gaussian blur to my lines. Gives it like this little effect here, which I really like. So let me make sure I label these BG lines. I know you guys can't see my layers through my head, but I'm always trying to put them in folders and whatnot, so I can keep them organized. So we're going to do the same with the foreground on this window here. Oops, I did that on the wrong one. Needs to be, I'm not done with those lines yet, so it's this. This is what I need. Multiply, and I'm gonna blur this a little bit more. I'm gonna blur it about like 20. One, because it's bigger, and two, because it's closer to the screen, so give it more of an effect like we're looking through something. So let's see, this is window frame. Alright, so now we just need to clean up his lines. So I'm going to turn all this off. I'm going to turn that off. Now we can clean these lines up. So let's see. So this is actually, let's put this so it's coming in front of, and then we'll put some lines like this so it's like coming in front of it. And I'm just going to try to thicken up some of the spots where the lines intersect. It's usually how I deal with like line width and whatnot. And sometimes the lines get a little bit blurred from using the liquify tool, but that's okay. We're not doing anything super detailed right now, so it's alright if there's a little bit of fuzz. August got his sideburn chops that he likes from his dad, so his dad has them. But it's hard to, you can't really see it right now, but
Better? Just come in here. Why don't you go take a nap? You good boy. You good boy. Take a nap. Stop it.
might be a little too zoomed in. There we go. Sometimes that affects the how pixelated the brush looks if you zoom in too far. You don't want to zoom in too far anyway, because then like you can get like tunnel vision on what you're doing, and you can like just go overboard with stuff. So gotta be conscious of that. Like especially with line work, like you gotta make sure that there's like areas of rest for the eyes. Otherwise it'll look, you know how like when people go through and they draw like every single strand of hair or whatever, like usually going like the same direction, and it just, you know, it's one of those things that will make your like artwork look more amateur. You gotta kind of think of hair as like just, you know, chunks, and then you just imply like detail by adding like little strands here and there. So it's mostly shapes. I mean, I like to do detail in the hair, but it's mostly, I mostly do it where it's showing like parts like overlapping or like being in front or behind like different parts. So that's like the majority of the detail that I do. Just so you can see that it's 3D and it falls in like different ways and whatnot. So I'm gonna put like some shadow here. And then when we do the coloring, this is gonna be like mostly be in shadow anyway. In the original shot, I had him completely like blacked out, like blocked out. I don't want to do that this time. We're updating with our new skills here, so at the time I didn't really have the skills to show what I wanted, so that's why I blacked them out. Kind of like when you put like a fireball on someone's hand because you can't draw hands, so you just, You're like, oh, it's completely covered in energy, so you wouldn't see it anyway. I used to do that a lot, so if you do that or whatever, like I do not blame you like whatsoever. Like it's totally, I get it. What are you freaking out about, kitty? Why are you so angry all the time, man? It can't be good for your little kitty heart. Oh yeah, yeah. If you do the full blacked out, you just want to carve away like a little bit here and there of where some of the details are. Just a little bit. I mean, like I said, when I color this is mostly going to be dark, so it's kind of going to be like almost like a blacked out silhouette anyway. Oops. Oh my god, dude.
If you're gonna play, go out there.
Why are you freaking out, man?
This is fine. I opened the door. Go out there.
Vegeta, go. Yeah, go play with the kitties. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Are you smacking through the door? Be nice.
Is Beans like right there or
I
something?
don't know. Lena. What's Phoebe? Phoebe, leave me alone.
Oh yeah, Phoebe is a hater. Phoebe is Vegeta's number one hater.
Yeah, Beans is there. I think they're just playing through the door. Don't run around in the room. Go run downstairs. Once time.
This is definitely like the most time consuming part here is doing the line width. Like I could technically do it like while I'm doing the lines, but I don't know. I think I go a little too thick in some areas when I do that. So I found it that I like to go back after the fact and do it. I do this side, blacked out. Yeah, when I did the original chapters, I was like way too heavy on the inking, so trying to fix that bad habit. Like there was too much shadow, not enough detail. A lot of the detail got lost because I was just going overboard with it, so I had way too much saturation on the coloring too, so that didn't help. brush is messed up. I hate it when it does that. I'm not like super confident with how I did this booty here. So we're going to put a little bit of shadowing here. I mean, his shirt would be covering a good amount of it anyway, so that's my story and I'm sticking to it. At least I made August booty look good. I put more time into that. MC's got to have that good cake.
I'm gonna spray that cat right in the face. She better leave me alone. Where's the spray bottle?
Spray bottle is...
You guys better put it. What are you? Calm down. Hey, what, get your sleepy treats tonight? Yep. Sleepy time.
My cat is taking insanity pills, guys. I don't know what his problem is. I think he gets upset too when I'm streaming because I'm not paying attention to him as much. It's like, Dad, you could be like playing with me. It's like, you're right, I could be. Vegeta, calm down, dude. You're being super crazy. He's like running back and forth and jumping everywhere. Like, why are you so crazy right now? Make sure I save. Black that out. Flip it the other way. Need to remember to flip it the other way every now and then to make sure that things are looking good from both directions. I used to be really bad about just like leaving things when they didn't look right, and then I would just notice it forever and I'd be like, oh my god, why didn't I just take the time to fix that? Especially with digital art, I really have no excuse for not fixing it, so. I think also being like medicated for my ADHD and stuff like really helped my mindset as far as like making sure that I take the time to do the things that I need to do and not like take as many shortcuts and then not be happy about it. It's like, what's the point if you're not happy about it, you know? Especially with artwork. black some of this out. Just so we get the form.
Who's running? It's not.
What are you doing, Beans?
He's just sniffing. I don't know if he's the most running. Hold on a second. Look. You guys are killing me. We're gonna stop that.
Yeah, you guys really need to chill.
Vegeta, stop teasing cats. Oh my god, I hate allergies so much. If allergies could just go away forever, that would be great. I would really like that. Oh my god.
Buddy, why are you crazy?
Stop it.
You're distracting both of us. Like, really
Yeah,
bad, man.
seriously. And I've got like a meeting in an hour, so he's really got knocked off.
Do you need me to hop off of here for your meeting?
If you're close to it, that's fine. If you need me to go downstairs, that's also fine.
No, it's okay. I mean, I can hop off of here when it's time for your meeting.
Okay. Oh my gosh, this girl sounds like she's got food in her mouth every time she talks. Can't stand it. Oh my god.
Hey, stop, guys.
What the heck? This is not Lion King.
Kitties are being so bad.
Like, I think they're trying to play, but they're like getting mad.
Yeah,
It's like, stop it.
definitely Vegeta getting mad. I don't think Vegeta knows how to play.
I don't think.
He's like, we're fighting, right? And Beans is like, no, dude.
Like they were playing chase earlier, where they were just chasing each other around in a circle, and they were fine. And then they started like kind of play swatting at each other, like not even like
Yeah.
touching each other, just swatting near each other at the
Yeah.
same time. They were both doing it, so I was like, oh, it's kind of cute. And then one of them got mad at the other, put their ears back, and then started like growling at him. I was like, why?
It's like, yeah, you guys were just playing. Like,
Stop it.
why can't you get along?
Dude, no. No, no, no.
Beans, I don't think he wants to play right now. I think he wants to just look out the window. Oops. Getting there. Almost done inking the body. And I probably won't be able to finish the panel this stream. Havoc does have a meeting coming up in a little while, so if I don't, I will continue to work on it later, and I will, of course, post it in the. I'll probably post it in the Discord because I don't want to post too much on Twitter and all that, since, like, you know, it's going to be something where it's going to, like, actually come out in chapters on webtoon. But if you are in my Discord, you will be able to see anything I work on off stream. I usually post it in there, unless I'm, like, super proud of it, and then I post it on social media. But I try not to do that too much, because I would give away, like, the whole story, like the whole chapter at that point, if I just kept posting. Gotta keep some of it close to the chest, just a little bit. Alright, let's see. Just a little bit, I think, on this hand, and a little bit in the center of the back there, and then the lines will be done. Oops. It's probably good for that hand. And we'll just get a little bit of this here. Also want to make sure I close off my lines, because when I go to add my coloring, I want to make sure that the selection tool will select everything correctly. I have it set to be pretty sensitive, so if there's any gaps, they're gonna pop up. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Do this. And duplicate. Multiply. And not by, we're going to do it by 10. There we go. So I like this technique because like even if some of the lines are a little rough, it like really like helps smooth it all out and it looks really nice. So I'm going to stick that in a folder. That. And I take the magic wand tool here. Try to select the outside of the lines best I can. Some of the parts got kind of like, but that's okay. So invert, and we'll make a new layer. And I like to fill it in with like a slightly darker color underneath. Doesn't really matter what color, it could be any color, just as long as you have a base to clip all your other colors to. Sometimes you have to fill it in manually because I think some of these lines are a little weak. But that's okay. And I'm gonna add his like crystals with like a different layer, so we're not gonna draw those out right now. Make sure that the fingertips are filled in here. Let's see if I got any other areas that were missed. This part needs to be like a gap. And this needs to be a gap between the forehead and the hair. There we go. Hell yeah. Let's do this and label this as colors. And this will be base. Oh, I should probably label that as Mr. Bennett colors. Because I'll have the background colors and whatnot too, and I want it to stay organized. So we got that. We can put that in there. And we can turn these on real quick. And let's use a different color for the background here. Let's fill that in. Then we can clip everything to that. And I think I have a brush for like papers, so I'll probably add those in like last. So let me think here. should probably do the background colors first because that's important with setting up the scene. So I'll know what the lighting is like. So I'm just gonna put down some like base colors for the things in the background. Just so some things are different colors from the rest. That way it's not all the same color. So let's see. Let's do... How do I have the shop? I have like some... They've definitely got some wood in the shop, that's for sure. So let's do this as wood. And then we'll do his desk as having some wood. Then maybe the rest is just like his walls and then his flooring. So we'll do this as wood pieces. I'm gonna put them in their own folder because there's something that I want to do with that. So let me get my image materials because I have like a wood grain that I used before. So let's see if I can get it to come up. All right. So it must be labeled in another language. So let's just find it real quick. Hopefully it won't take me too long to find it. Oh, there it is. Can use that, and then I can clip it to the wood parts. Oops. Like that. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. So, or at least move to a spot where you can see lots of the grain. So we'll do that, and we'll do it as brightness. I think that looks pretty good. So I don't know why I have that. So let's get rid of that. Wood parts. Label that. Alright. And let's get the floor. Maybe I can put a pattern on the floor of some kind. Maybe the floor will be wood too. Yeah, we could do this. And what I'll do is I'm going to turn the perspective ruler back on here. I'm going to turn this on. And then we can go to this. And let's rasterize. Well, let's make it a little smaller first. It's a little too big. There we go. And then we'll rasterize. And I found that using free transform is a little bit easier for this than using perspective. So let's bring this back. And where's the boundaries? Holy crap, it's huge. Oh my goodness. That's wild. Bring it down. Okay, I wrote it down a little bit too far. So let's say, let's use this as like the horizon line. And bring it over this way. And my god, why is it so big? It's because it's like trying to fill the entire freaking webtoon with like that vertical format it has. So I'm gonna line it up there. I'm gonna do this, take it out that way. I think I'm gonna take it out this way some more. And then we want to just like kind of adjust the levels here till everything kind of fits the needs of what we got as far as lining up with this grid. So I'm going to put it on this line. Bring it up some more. And then this line needs to come out more if it's going to fit the perspective. So it's got to come out more like that. And then move it just till it lines up. There we go. So it's technically in perspective. So we're going to use that as our flooring. Alright, so we got that. So now we need to figure out what color I'll make the walls in here. I'll probably do like I'm thinking like a bluish gray. Oh yeah, let me get some water. And save. Hell yeah. Oh my god, I just realized the perspective is totally different than these lines that I drew, but oh well. It'll be okay. I don't think anybody will really notice. We're gonna have other stuff going on here, so I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Alright, so we want to... Oops, let me turn the perspective ruler off now. And I'm just gonna actually... Stop. Alright, so it's gotta go above the floor, but below the wood parts. So actually I can just do this. That'll be fine. Fill that in like that grayish color. And then what I'll do is I'll put it below that. There we go. This will be the walls. And I think I'll put a texturing on the walls too, just to they're a bit of a different texture. Maybe I'll use one of these like watercolor grains here. We'll do this. I think that'll look fine. Bring it in a little bit that way, and then we'll stick that as brightness. There we go. Oops. Oh, that's right, the walls are... Okay, so I'm gonna have to raster up and cut out the floor. So it's not covering that. There we go. All right, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick all this in a folder, and then I'll just do the colors over top of it. Just let me know when your meeting is, love.
It's at 3:30.
3:30. Okay. All right, so I should probably wrap this up here. So let me get my phone just so I can see what time it is. Well, it's 3 o'clock now. I'll go for a few more minutes and then I'll wrap up. We'll just set up some of the light here. Do that. And we can do some of the hard shadowing. I'm gonna assume that this is gonna make somewhat of a shadow there. Actually, all this is farther back, so it would be, that'll be in dark because it's kind of like recessed. And then do like this is also recessed, so let's have his desk also be in shadow. I think for the sake of like dramatic effect, I'll put like a shadow kind of going like that, just so we can also like kind of get like the angle of basically where it'll point to like the action and what he's doing here. So doesn't necessarily have to make sense for like the lighting or anything, so it's all good. And I'm gonna blur it a little bit on the edges. Take that down to like 30. Gonna go ahead and move that off to the side so I can see. And I'm gonna take a big ass brush here and just do some like gradient shadow a little bit, kind of like around. We'll do like a vignette kind of like this. Just kind of around where he's like And then we'll leave like mostly where he is a little bit lighter. So it'll be like that. I'm gonna take down the opacity on it. Duplicate, duplicate, darken it a little bit. Linear burn. And I think I want this like screen to have like an emergency kind of thing going on, so I'll make it like a red, like it's in emergency power. And then we can use that actually as a light source, and it'll look cool too. So we're gonna do this. Kind of clean it up a little bit where the lines. And we're going to duplicate. We'll do hard light. And then I'm going to have it kind of. See, I'm trying to think what would be the best way to do this. Yeah, like that. Actually, that works pretty well already. Let me bring it out some more. If I did it backwards, it'd be the other way. What about both directions? That looks better. Actually, I'm going to desaturate this just a little bit because that's a little bright. Alright, let's turn this down a bit, and then we'll do glow dodge. And I'm going to put a Gaussian blur, like 50% on that. Add glow. Might need to turn these up a little bit, so they're a little more apparent. I could put some kind of going across the desk here on the top. Actually, I do it as a gradient. I think going like that, and we'll do this as hard light, 30%. Duplicate. Let's do the glow dodge. Blur it out some more because glow dodge is intense sometimes. Then we'll do add glow. Should do this in a couple different spots here. Probably should have done this all in the same layer, but you know what? It's fine. It'll be okay. you still being insane, kitties? They're like, of course. We're always insane. Alright, I'm gonna do this whole wall, I think. Give it like the dramatic framing that we're looking for. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do it like that. Down to like 30. Footage. Blur it. That's pretty good. I kind of wonder if I should even do some... I don't want to do too much red in too many spots to take away from where like the focal point of it is. But I do think I want to turn some of my shadows up. So let's turn these up to like 30 and see how they look. Maybe even more than that actually. Let's do... That looks pretty good. And then let's turn this up as well. Because I want the contrast. So it's looking pretty good. I think there should probably be some blood on the wall as well. And then I gotta hop off of here so Havoc can have her meeting and not have to worry. We're gonna put it as if like it's gonna be kind of like flung around. There'll be some on the desk here too from where he is, you know, maybe some on the wall splattered up here. Kind of flicked out in different directions. That down a little bit and duplicate. Let's do hard light like that. Let's see what else. That's probably good for the most part. I think I want a little bit of a slightly different light. Maybe kind of, oops, not in that brush. That would help. Kind of a little bit like that. we go. That's looking pretty good. And let's put gradient map. I wonder if one of these would actually work pretty. No, let's. I know which one I need. It is. I think it's in lemons. Keep it consistent with the rest of the panels. And then some of that in. Some of this up a little bit in the mids. And in the bright. Still a little bit saturated. Do want it saturated here. All right. If that's looking pretty good. Merge that. Alright, what time is it here? Alright guys, I have to wrap this up because Havoc has a meeting here and I cannot be live, so let me go ahead and I'm going to put you guys over into the lobby here. I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. If you guys are not already following me, go ahead and give me a follow to see when I go live. If you like the type of content I'm doing, consider subscribing. That would help me out a lot. I will catch you guys tomorrow, hopefully with finishing up Alien Isolation. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye-bye.